Alright folks, let's talk about the Sepoy Mutiny. Picture this. India, 1857. The British East India Company is calling the shots, and Indian soldiers, known as sepoys, make up a big chunk of their army. These guys were tough, they were disciplined, but they were about to get a crash course in why you don't mess with a soldier's beliefs. See, the company introduced these new rifle cartridges. Problem was, the rumor mill started churning. Word on the street was that these cartridges were greased with animal fat, pig and cow fat to be exact. Now that might not seem like a big deal, but to Hindu and Muslim soldiers, it was a slap in the face. Cows are sacred to Hindus, and Muslims don't touch pork. It was a direct attack on their religious practices. Imagine being told to bite into something that goes against everything you believe in. That's what these sepoys were facing. It was a line in the sand, and the company had just stomped all over it. The result? An explosion of anger and resentment that would shake the foundations of British rule in India. Now the greased cartridges were the spark, no doubt. But the fire had been building for a while. The British East India Company was like that guest who overstays their welcome. They came to trade, but they ended up taking over, imposing their will on every aspect of Indian life. They grabbed land left and right, leaving Indian rulers powerless. They pushed their way into Indian society, undermining traditions and customs that had been around for centuries. And to top it off, they treated Indians as second-class citizens in their own country. Talk about adding insult to injury. Imagine working your tail off, only to be told you're not good enough, you're not equal. That was the reality for millions of Indians under British rule. The resentment was simmering, and the greased cartridges just turned up the heat. It was a recipe for rebellion, and it was about to boil over. Meerut, 1857, this is where it all kicked off. Some sepoys refused to use the new cartridges. Punishment, imprisonment, bad move, British. Their fellow sepoys, already on edge, said enough is enough. They rose up, freed their comrades, and turned their anger on the British. This wasn't some small-scale protest. This was a full-blown mutiny. The rebels marched on Delhi, the seat of Mughal power, and declared the aging emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. From there, the rebellion spread like wildfire across northern and central India. It was a chaotic time. Battles raged, cities changed hands, and both sides showed no mercy. The British were caught off guard by the ferocity of the uprising. They underestimated the depth of anger that fueled the rebellion. They were in for a fight for their very survival in India. Section 4. Faces of Defiance, Leaders and Martyrs. This wasn't just a faceless mob. This was a movement with heroes and martyrs. Leaders like Rani Lakshmibai, the Queen of Jhansi, a warrior queen who fought with incredible courage and skill. She became a symbol of resistance, a legend that inspired generations to come. Then there was Tantia Tope, a military strategist who kept the British on their toes with his guerrilla tactics. And let's not forget Mangal Pandey, the sepoy who sparked the mutiny with his act of defiance against the greased cartridges. These were ordinary people who rose to the occasion, who showed extraordinary bravery in the face of overwhelming odds. They knew the risks, they knew the consequences, but they fought for what they believed in. They fought for their freedom, their dignity, their right to determine their own destiny. Section 5. The Empire Strikes Back, Crushing the Rebellion. The British weren't about to go down without a fight. They poured troops into India, determined to crush the rebellion and reassert their dominance. And crush it they did, but not without brutal reprisals. Villages were razed, civilians were massacred, and rebel leaders were executed. The British unleashed a wave of violence designed to instill fear and break the back of the rebellion. It was a dark chapter in Indian history, a testament to the brutality of colonialism. The rebellion was eventually put down, but it came at a cost. It left scars on the Indian psyche, scars that would take generations to heal. It also forced the British to rethink their approach to ruling India. They realized they couldn't just rule by force. They needed to make some changes, however superficial, to appease the Indian population. Section 6. Legacy of a Revolt. A nation in the making. The Sepoy Mutiny might have been crushed, but its impact was undeniable. It was a turning point in Anglo-Indian relations. It shattered the myth of British invincibility, exposing the vulnerabilities of their rule. More importantly, it ignited a sense of national consciousness among Indians. It showed them that they could unite, that they could fight back against injustice. The seeds of Indian nationalism were sown in the blood and sacrifice of the 1857 rebellion. It would be decades before India finally achieved independence, but the Sepoy Mutiny was a crucial step on that long road to freedom. It was a reminder that even the most powerful empires can be challenged, that the human spirit yearns for liberty, and that sometimes you gotta fight for what you believe in.